90-Day Fiance Happily Ever After Recap, The Blame Game. Last night we saw the dimmest minuscule smidgen of a brain cell fire in Nicole's head. Why? Because she finally got a half clue about Izan not being the stand-up guy she thought he was for the past 3 years. You know, the guy who's all too happy to sit on his unemployed buttocks all day, renewing his gym membership and going out to midnight coffee bars on Nicole's Starbucks paycheck. Well, maybe not just on Nicole's paycheck, and because it seems Izan has other fish on his hook. And they might not demand as many french fries or shoulder sniffs as Nicole. At the beginning of the show, Nicole gets a call mid-interview that alerts her about voicemails leaked online that sound very much like Izan telling someone he wants to kiss them, that the kiss was good and I know you want it. Dry heave, it's unmistakably him, except he sounds breathy and gross in some sort of attempt at sex-at-times talk. Much like Annie's boom boom sex speech, we can never unhear this. Kill me. Nicole races to the bathroom, leaving producers in the dust, and slamming the door on one of them, while she calls Izan to confirm the leak. She whines, "Why are you talking about kissing someone in a voicemail?" ? He just evades, pretending not to know what she's freaking out about, nor WTF a voicemail is. Or whatever. Producers filmed through the crack in the door, we can only assume they've wedged open with some garbage they've found on Nicole's disgusting floor, while Nicole cries and moans. Izan, you in trouble, boy. You may be 55 attracted to Nicole, but you are 100 busted. My heart hurts, cries Nicole, who keeps demanding explanations that Izan can't give. He finally says he was just joking around with his friends one night and they made him call another girl. Okay, we already know that Nicole is a special kind of stupid, but the fact that she accepts this answer so easily and continues to pack up for Morocco afterward is just beyond comprehension. I need you to pick me, she demands of Izan. He swears that he will be faithful to his meal ticket from now on. And that's all Nicole needs to hear. So she continues to pack up her motel room while May sits on the bed and watches, helpless. Nicole plans to live with Izan's family, who despise her, while she lives in Morocco for a year. She also plans on supporting herself and Izan on her savings until he gets a job. which will be precisely the same day that David gets a job, I.e., the day hell freezeth fucking over. Nicole's very normal looking friend, Jessica goes along with her to pick up her wedding dress. Jessica tells producers that what Nicole's doing is terrifying, impulsive, and most likely regrettable. But oh well. At least she gets to be the sane one in this scene. Then again, the cockroach in Nicole's toilet bowl gets to be the sane one in his scenes too, and Nicole breaks down in tears as she tries on her inappropriate wedding gown, perhaps letting it sink in that she's blowing up her entire life for the sake of a man who clearly doesn't want her. But, stubborn as she is, Nicole won't turn back now. As soon as I get there, all the nerves will go away, she dumbly justifies. Yeah, that must be it. Oh my god, this chick is nuts. Seriously, of all the train wrecks on this show, I think she wins, right? A day before their flight to Morocco, Nicole takes May to the park to meet up with her much wiser brother, Thomas. He won't be at the wedding but looks forward to hearing about his parents grilling his and about his nefarious intentions. Not that they'll be able to stop the monster they raised from destroying all of their lives. At least Thomas knows there's no talking his sister out of disastrous decisions. Dealing with this trash heap of a situation is above his pay grade. He just hopes May remembers who he is when she returns and that she returns, period. On the day she leaves, Nicole finished packing. Who am I kidding? I don't need workout clothes. She giggles to her mom. Rosalie looks like she's going to vomit as she waves goodbye to her daughter and precious grandbaby. She knows Nicole is being scammed, we know Nicole is being scammed, my dog knows that Nicole is being scammed. But Nicole refuses to see the truth. Thus, she loads May onto a plane and flies straight ahead into her self-made doom. Of course, she gets on the phone with Azin first to make excuses about why she sent him less money than she promised recently. Robili puts it best, Nicole is not necessarily a rational person. You know, these two bores barely deserve a paragraph for their played-out story, but here's the gist. Juan and Russ argue at dinner. Paola loves every minute of it but pretends she doesn't. She gives us a lot of "I'm torn between my husband and best friend" speeches. Then she finally leaves with Russ, who almost fights Juan on the street, but doesn't because his pleather jacket might trip. Although most of us, okay, I'll speak for myself, would like to see Juan take a nice punch to the chin, we know violence is never the answer. Ditching Paola is. Alas, Russ will never do that. Back at the hotel, Paola screams at Russ when he reiterates that Juan is scum and needs to go. She thinks Russ just doesn't understand the depth of her connection with Juan, which probably is written in fame-hungry dollar signs. Because if Juan isn't the thirstiest idiot on this show, I don't know who is. Maybe Paola? Also, did Russ hire an acting coach for this scene? Because his lines need a little more rehearsing. Kinda like his hair needs a little bit of shaping. I'm sorry I can't stop. It's just so bad. Also, is he dead inside yet? Because his eyes are telling a story, man. Since Anfisa let Jorge move back indoors, she's been keeping herself busy by breaking into his phone and wondering who his friends are. She's also become adept at calling Jorge out on lying, which is basically his full-time job. This is an average convo. Anfisa, where are you going? Jorge, to the store. Anfisa, stop lying. Jorge, okay, to the divorce lawyer. When Jorge can't argue his way into another boys' night out with his joint-wearing friend, Ramon, he begrudgingly allows Anfisa to tag along. Even more terrifying, he lets her drive. When they arrive, Ramon is in shock at seeing the woman, the myth, the webcam girl sent to him in a link that he totally didn't open. Anfisa. And let's just pause here a moment to fully appreciate the side-eye and SHT eating grin that Ramon gives the camera crew throughout this entire scene. Basically, Ramon is all of us. Except he praises Jorge endlessly instead of calling him a lying dimwit, so he may be not all of us. Anfisa's not buying his BS, and neither are we. But shout out to Ramon for trying. And shout out to him for sporting joint number 2 behind his ear for his second scene on television. Note to Erica Jane, this is what giving 0 FKS actually looks like. Sometime later, Jorge and Anfisa go to dinner on their own to discuss their relationship. Jorge thinks they need a vacation, Anfisa thinks Jorge needs to fix their relationship with his family. He's thrown Anfisa under the bus since day one, yet takes no responsibility for his lies contributing to her psycho behavior. Jorge says he'll make it right. But much like David, this pile of turds is all talk and no action.